Norah O'Donnell is one of the most famous TV news reporters today. You've probably seen her on NBC and CBS News. She's been doing this job for 30 years and has won multiple Emmy Awards. But besides her amazing career, Norah O'Donnell is also married to someone really special. Let's find out everything about her life and love story. But first, let's talk about Norah herself. She was born on January 23, 1974, in Washington, D.C. Her full name is Norah Morahan O'Donnell. Her mom's name was Noreen Bernardet, and her dad was Francis Lawrence O'Donnell. Her dad worked as a medical doctor and was also an officer in the U.S. Army. Because her dad was in the Army, the family had to move around a lot. When Norah was 3 years old, they moved to San Antonio, Texas. Then when she was 10, the whole family moved to Seoul, South Korea, where her dad was stationed for work. Even when she was really young, Norah showed that she had talent for broadcasting. She even made video lessons teaching English for a Korean education program while she was still in elementary school. After some time, the O'Donnell family moved back to San Antonio. That's where young Norah went to Douglas MacArthur High School. After she graduated from high school, she went to Georgetown University. She studied philosophy there and graduated in 1995. Later, she went back to school and got her master's degree in liberal studies in 2003. When Norah first started her career, she worked as a writer for a newspaper in Washington, D.C. called Roll Call. But Norah spent most of her career at NBC, where she worked for 12 years. During that time, she became really well known and appeared on lots of different shows. She was a guest on the Today Show, worked as the White House reporter for NBC News, and was the main Washington reporter for MSNBC. Norah also worked on NBC Nightly News, Dateline NBC, and the Today Show. She became even more famous worldwide. When she started working at CBS, she became the host for some of their biggest shows. In 2019, she was named the managing editor and main anchor for CBS Evening News. She also became a reporter for the famous show 60 Minutes. She was also chosen to be the main anchor for political events on CBS until she said she was leaving, shortly after the 2024 U.S. presidential election. After that, she was given a new job as a senior correspondent at CBS News. But then in November of that same year, she announced she would be leaving CBS Evening News in January 2025. They say love works in mysterious ways, right? Well, for Norah O'Donnell, she met the love of her life in the most unexpected place in a cafeteria line at college. Beauty that Norah O'Donnell is married. T.O. is a chef named Jeff Tracy. Norah once said her mom gave her great advice to marry your best friend. She told a magazine called Woman's World in 2019 that this advice really changed everything for her. That turned out to be good advice, she said. Having a partner who makes you laugh and supports you means everything. In an interview they did together with Georgetown University, the couple talked about how they met. Norah said they first saw each other in 1991 at the New South Cafeteria, when they were both waiting in line to get food. She remembered it was the first week of school. Her roommate had gone to a boarding school called Taft and was wearing a shirt from that school. Jeff's roommate went to a boarding school called Choate, and they started talking about that. Jeff remembered how he and his roommate used the boarding school topic as an excuse to start a conversation with the girls. Out of everything, he remembers that his future wife really stood out to him. She looked very different from the people he had known at his boarding school in New England. When he looks back now, he can't believe that he met the person he's married to today in that random moment. That same year, they went on their first date together. The couple says they count October 4th, 1991 as their first real anniversary. On that day, the two of them went to a bar in Washington called Dubliner with some friends. While they were there, Norah said there was some creepy older guy who kept trying to hit on her. But Jeff was actually thinking about asking her to marry him right then. And there, he asked her the big question over the bar's loudspeaker. And everyone in the whole place started cheering and celebrating. The couple also said they used to go on coffee dates at the Lowinger Library on campus. For Jeff Tracy, he already knew back then that he was going to marry her someday. But for Norah O'Donnell, it took her a little longer to feel the same way about him. In the end, everything worked out perfectly because they got married in June 2001 at Georgetown's Dahlgren Chapel. The couple has 3 beautiful kids together, twins named Grace and Henry, and their daughter Riley. Just like his wife, Jeff Tracy also went to Georgetown University. He graduated with a degree in theology. After college, he left Washington and went to the Culinary Institute of America to learn how to be a chef. He officially became a chef and opened his first restaurant before he even turned 30 years old. He opened several restaurants. The first one was called DC Prime in 2000, just a year before he married Norah O'Donnell. A year after that, he opened another restaurant called Chef Jeff's Downtown in 2002. From there, Jeff expanded his business and created a restaurant group. His restaurants worked together with 2 local breweries, and the whole thing became known as Chef Jeff's Deluxe Hospitality. Jeff made this business move because he thought it would help them be strong and successful. At the same time, he wanted to make sure each restaurant kept its own special character. Both Norah and Jeff have really demanding jobs that keep them super busy, especially Norah's job. In another interview with Woman's World in 2021, Norah talked about how hard things were during the COVID-19 pandemic. Of course, like everyone else, she wanted to stay healthy and keep her family safe. With all the scary news happening back then, Norah said she tried to focus on the human side of the stories she was reporting. She also stayed grateful, which helped her stay calm and not feel too overwhelmed. Her husband also helps her feel better by doing small, thoughtful things that make a big difference. The other night, I came home after a long day and was really touched that my husband had dinner ready for me, she said. This makes sense since her husband is a professional chef. The couple also said they show their love by doing things for each other, especially by cooking meals. Norah told People magazine in 2019 that their family loves food and that cooking for people you love is like therapy. To make a beautiful meal for your family or friend is incredibly relaxing and also brings me a lot of joy, she said. Since they both love cooking so much, it wasn't surprising when they wrote a cookbook together. The book is called Baby Love: Healthy, Easy-to-Make Meals for Your Baby and Toddler. The book came out in 2010, and they wrote it to help parents make their own baby food at home. They promised that even people who don't have much cooking experience can make their recipes and feed their children healthy, nutritious food. The current government administration has gotten a lot of criticism lately, and one topic that's been really controversial is the ICE raids. Even Norah O'Donnell's husband got caught up in one of these raids. On May 6th, ICE agents raided a restaurant in Washington, D.C., specifically one on New Mexico Avenue that belongs to Norah's husband, Jeff Tracy. The raid happened because the Trump administration wanted to enforce immigration laws more strictly. According to Fox 5 News, almost a dozen agents showed up at the restaurant and went inside. They demanded to see all the employees' documents at around 10:30 in the morning and stayed for about an hour and a half. In the end, they left the restaurant without arresting or taking anyone into custody. This wasn't the only incident like this. Another restaurant in D.C. was also raided by ICE that same week. But those agents carried a search warrant that was signed by an ICE agent instead of a judge. It's really disturbing how bold they've been. Considering search warrants are supposed to be signed by judges, not ICE agents themselves. Recently, these raids have become such a big problem that the D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser made an official statement about them. Bowser said she was very disturbed by these raids, and that it looks like they're causing problems in the neighborhoods. On the other hand, an ICE spokesperson told Fox Digital News that they were just doing their job to make sure businesses follow U.S. immigration and employment laws. U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, Homeland Security Investigations, is conducting worksite enforcement across the nation to ensure businesses are following U.S. immigration and employment laws. The spokesperson said this includes recent enforcement operations in the D.C. area, where they gave more than 100 inspection notices to local employers at different businesses. They said no arrests were made as part of this workplace enforcement. ICE raids have been happening all over the country, but a lot of people think the raid on Jeff Tracy's restaurant was personal revenge by the president against the TV show 60 Minutes, where Jeff's wife Norah works as a reporter. People think this because CBS released the full, unedited recordings to prove that Trump's claims were wrong. Trump had claimed they edited a Kamala Harris interview in October of last year to make her look better and improve her chances of winning the presidency. The U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or IC, is an enforcement agency that works under the Department of Homeland Security. Its job is to enforce federal laws about border control, immigration, and customs trade. It has two